Jai Gurudev everyone, and welcome to this another episode of Yoga Vasishtha, in which we will cover from 24th of March till 2nd of April. And apologies about the delay. I was traveling and I was not there, and I was visiting Gurudev as well. So all those things are happening. So far we saw that it is in all the different stories that we saw. It is the mind which is actually giving the shape and form to the world around us. For example, everything comes in the mind as an intention first, and with the direction and the effort, it manifests into the things around us. The house you are living right now, that house was not there many years back. It was the intention and the direction and the efforts that the house was created. Your car, your job, the way you are doing the things, and the thing was there. Everything with the intention and the efforts, it is got created around us. So considering that in the mind, that everything arises into the subtle form, and then with the energy, and it comes to the surface as a thought, and then the thought comes to the outermost surface on the body level, and the action starts happening, and then the results are seen. So the actions are not that powerful. Understand that the actions are not powerful. The thought behind that is more powerful, and the intention behind that thought is more powerful. So that's why on the subconsciousness level or the consciousness level, if you do something, that will be more powerful. Now this will give you the idea about how powerful the Sahaj Samadhi meditation is, how powerful the meditations in the silence course is, because they start working on the very subtler level, on the other side of the mind, where the mind is also not existing. So it got effect on the mind. So your thought process changes. Your thought process changes. It has got effect on your body level. Your action changes. That starts, everything starts becoming purified. Everything purifies from inside out. Then outside in. Outside in is difficult. No matter how much you do the penance, no matter how much you do the cleanliness of the body, to certain degree it will have the effect on the mind, but not all the time. All the people who are following religious activities, penance and all that, they will not have the mind in their control. So that's why these knowledge that we are reading, Ashtavakra, Yoga Vasishtha, they are called supreme knowledge. They are called superior knowledges, Upanishads and all that, because they work on the subtlest level of our existence, and then the reflection of that is outer calm mind, calm body, relaxed body, all those things, actions, purified actions, pure actions, all those things happens as a result of that. So here the Vasishtha continues on page number 84, 24th of March, that when the cosmic mind manifested itself in the absolute Brahman, at that very instant the natural tendencies or the drivers being or and their behaviors were born. So the moment the mind was manifested, the existence of the mind depends on the opposite. If there are no opposites in our life, the mind will not sustain. Right now you have a thought in your mind. Now analyze that thought. Why the thought is there? What is the origin of the thought? What is the opposite thing of the thought? Why it's coming and all that? It will be something about you want to know something, you want to do something, you're thinking about going somewhere, coming back from somewhere. Opposite to that is you don't want to go, you don't want to do something, you don't want to know anything, you don't want to do any action. If you take out the opposites, and then the other thing collapses, and after the mind also collapses. The existence of the mind is there because there are choices, and you want to choose the correct choice. That's why the mind is always going on and on and on inside continuously and troubling us. So before it is projected as action, it arises into the mind, that we saw just now, and it is the movement of the energy in the consciousness, and it's inevitable bears its own fruit, like that also we saw. And when such action comes to the end, the mind comes to an end too, and the mind causes to be, there is no action, ceases to be, there is no action. This applies only to the liberation stages, not to the others. Now this applies only to the liberated stages. That means the mind is not existing into the liberated stages. That means they are so much established into the inner consciousness, the witness consciousness, which is watching the mind, and they are just established there. That's why the movement of the mind is, if it is happening, then also they are not bothered by that. Generally it won't happen, because mind is existing because you are giving attention to that. The moment that attention is taken away, the mind will stop existing. In the deep sleep, that is the second last stage that happens before you collapse into the deep sleep, that your attention, or into the sleep, your attention to the mind is withdrawn and gone down, and then after that the mind starts troubling you. Then you go into the sleep, then there are some dreams, there are some fluctuating thoughts, and next level after that is a deep sleep where all those things also vanishes. Are you getting what I'm saying? So it is very interesting to understand how the mind is working and how the things are happening on the level of the mind, on the level of the consciousness, and on the level of the body. Now, mind is only perception. Perception in movement is consciousness. The expression of the movement is action, and the flotation allows, and the flotation. So this is all happening, the consciousness, mind, everything, what is perception, what is not perception. Then there is this, all those amazing thing. However, mind, intellect, egotism, individual consciousness, action, fancy, birth, death, latent tendencies, knowledge, effort, everything is nothing but the words without any corresponding reality. The sole reality is infinite consciousness. From the infinite consciousness, the moment the mind arises, mind is nothing but the actions happening there. The moment the action starts happening, the existence of that moment is because there is opposite. And when all those things is not happening, then the infinite consciousness itself is there. That we understood. Now in that opposites, there are so many things happening into the multi-dimension and multi-plane consciousness. That's why we have to understand that. We have to give it the different names to that: life and death, latent tendencies, knowledge, effort, memory. But when you go to the source of that, from where it has come in, you reach to the infinite consciousness. Infinite consciousness is the root from where all those things are coming, existing, and going back into it. And that is why it is again and again said into this book that everything is nothing but the infinite consciousness. Now this is about the mind. Then in next paragraph it's said about the intellect and ego. That itself, when it is firmly established into the conviction of certain perception, it is known as intellect. See, intellect is little bit powerful than the mind. The intellect is little bit powerful than the mind. The intellect is more firm. So, mind is like fluctuating thoughts. Intellect is little bit sharper. You know for certain, yes, this is right, this is the way it is, this is the way the things work. That is intellect. So it's like more conviction is there on that level. Now when it ignorantly or foolishly identify itself with the existing separate individuality, that you have come out of that, say, individual infinite consciousness, you are thinking I am separate, and then the manifestation of every thought coming into that consciousness is happen, the body is formed, the world is formed. Then you start considering it is me who has created this world, it is me who has created this thing, it is me who is living in this world, it is me who is suffering, me who is enjoying. Then that is called egotism. So the basis substratum of the egotism comes the moment the consciousness separates from the infinite or absolute absolute or infinite consciousness, and starts feeling that I am separate. It wants to know itself. It has got that ability to exist on its own, and then it wants to know more about it. Then it sees I can manifest the senses, I can manifest the elements, I can manifest everything. Then it wants to know how this manifestation has happened, how this creation has come into the being. And that's why the whole journey starts for us, and then we get trapped into that, and then we realize, hold on, what is the source from where all this coming back? Then the journey of the spirituality starts after that. So the journey of the materialism and the education and the knowledge about the materialistic world starts from the beginning. We go outward, and depending on how much we have wasted our energy, time and effort to knowing the material world, depending on that we start going back into the spiritual path, coming back to the source. This is very interesting, isn't it? And then whereas the pure movement in the consciousness is karma or action without the independent doer, when it pursues the fruition of such action, it is called karma. See, every action that is happening If you not attached to that, if it is just happening on its own spontaneously, you will not get affected with karma. Why karma is coming? Because the action needs the fruit. If I am saying all those things, there should be someone to listen to this, there should be someone to benefit from this. If that action is required, that fruit that someone should benefit, someone should listen, then this action is becoming karma, and then I'm getting trapped. Is it making sense? So anything you are doing, you want to do something for someone, you want to do, that's why service and seva is so important, because there we say do it selflessly, do it without expecting any results. So you start learning that ability to do something for the others without expecting the result. So the fruition of the action is gone, so the karma is not happening, and then it starts dawning into your life and start expanding more and more, becoming the whole day is expression of spontaneous actions. Nothing is expected from anyone in return. So that's why the wise men and the sage starts living their life automatically after this becomes a natural tendency for them. Of course, it doesn't happen like they, again I'm saying that they starts working on the subtler side of the existence. They don't go like, okay, this is my karma, I don't want to expect the action out of that. This is my body, I don't want to do this. This is my mind. No, they just go deep into that sense of being, that I am state, or that witness consciousness, and they just spend time there more and more and more and more. And then with the journey of the individual consciousness dissolving into the universal consciousness continues, with the latent tendencies getting over and over, Now the next page is talked about the self effort, infinite space of individual consciousness. The fine from where the space is threefold, it says infinite space of undivided consciousness, that is absolute. Infinite space of undivided consciousness, that is absolute. Now finite space of divided consciousness, where it is a normal space that you see, and the physical space in which the material exists. Sorry, it is the physical space is the normal space. The finite space of divided consciousness is the emotions and the mind on level, where the space is there. Means if you are thinking that you are right now sitting in Paris, or you are right now sitting in Malaysia, or you are right now sitting in Germany, so the distance is immediately created in the mind, and then you are understanding that and you are living in that. So that is called the finite space of divided consciousness. And then the physical space, and then the absolute space is when you are witnessing all those things, you are going beyond all those things, then it is called infinite space of undivided consciousness, because in that everything is just calm and peaceful and serene, and you are just not doing anything. So, oh Rama, whatever might have been the origin of the mind, wherever it might be, one should constantly direct it towards the liberation through the self effort. So whatever is the origin of your mind, and whenever it is, you should keep going back to that. Okay, you should keep going into the witness consciousness, and this self effort is only will take you to the first level of space, existing space, that is infinite space of undivided consciousness. Now then there is a story about, he heard from the Brahma itself, and there was a forest, and there were millions were miles, and then in that forest there was a man with 1,000 arms, and he was restless and all that. It's a very nice, very interesting story. You must have read that. So this tells us actually how the play of consciousness takes place, and how the pure knowledge liberates you. And in the next page, on page number 86, 26th of March, it is given a little bit of explanation about that. The person with 1,000 arms is the mind with countless tendencies, countless manifestations. The mind punishes itself by its own latent tendencies and restlessly wanders into the world, and that world is called as a forest. And then it continues telling us that what is happening and all that. Sometimes it experiences an imperfect awakening and it renounces the pleasure of the world without proper understanding. This is very important. In your journey of spirituality, you will again and again reach to the stages where you will think, oh, that's it, I got it all. The moment this thought will come, yes, I got it all, forget about it, you are not reached the destination. Because the thoughts will not be there when you will reach the destination. So if the thought is still coming and if the thought is telling, that's it, I got it all, then who is telling this? Who is saying I got it all? So if I say I got it all, then I got it all is outside and I am inside somewhere witnessing that. So you still not reached the destination. The destination is to reach the I know what is existing there. So that's why it's very interesting to keep doing all those things again and again and again till the time. And only I think it happens on a very subtle level, and the grace plays a very important factor. Of course, I'm not reached there, but I'm just guessing and I'm just intellectually understanding and I'm sharing my understanding with you. Like it's a very subtler way of going deep after certain time. You will start realizing that all your tendencies are falling down. Things that were bothering you will stop bothering you. Things that were hurting you will stop hurting you. Desires will fall down. Fearlessness will dawn in. You will start becoming fearless. And not, see, again, fearless is a quality that is like a shakti. It is not like the attitude that I don't care, I can do anything and no one can stop me. Sorry, it is not that attitude. It is a fearless attitude that you see into the sages, that they keep doing the work for the humanity without resting, without demanding anything in return, and then everybody starts helping them. That fearless attitude, I don't care, I'm going and helping them. If I will get sick, who cares, I will still help them. If I will get tired, who cares, I will still help them. If I will not get money, who cares, I will still help them. That is called the fearless state. It's different than the attitude of I'm fearless and I can do anything and everything, I don't care. It's not like that. It's I care a lot, I care for everybody, and then fearlessly you go out of your way and start helping everybody. Now again, in the next paragraph, it is written, an uncontrolled mind is a source of sorrow. That you already must have experienced, I am pretty sure. When it is thoroughly understood, the sorrow vanishes like the mist in the sunrise. So when you know that yes, your mind is playing all those tricks, and then you are getting involved into that, and then the latent tendencies are affecting the mind as well, and then the mind is behaving in certain way, then you will start understanding, going back into the again the witness consciousness. And so the absolute Brahman is omnipotent and there is nothing which is outside it. It is his power or energy that pervades all the things. It embodied beings and it is the Chit Shakti. Yes, and its notion is air, stability is earth. Its motion is air, stability is earth, void is space, and its power is self-consciousness. I am in created being. So if you just go back to that state, I am, it is there, you immediately get it. The moment I said it and the moment I heard it, and you just close your eyes and you got it, you immediately got it. Then the mind comes in, then the intellect comes in, and then, oh, I am sitting, I am listening, why is not talking, what happened, all those thoughts coming in. But again you give it a go, again you close your eyes and just go into that state, I am. See, on a very subtle level, you just feel the existence of yourself. It is not the mind, it is not the intellect, it is that just pure consciousness which is just present there. That presence, that beingness, that is what is called the entry level towards the absolute, I will say. Because then after that, when it dissolves, then you may go into the absolute. However, when you go into the next stage, you will not be able to understand anything what's happening. So the only point for us as a reference is that I am just there, and that's it. So that's very important. That is just the most important thing to achieve that state in our spiritual journey. Now, the instrument, yet all this, yes, then we talked about that self power of self consciousness, I am in the created being, and yet all this is nothing but the power of absolute Brahman. So, all this is separate from the Brahman. It is the power of the Brahman. It is, yeah, it is not the Brahman. The instrument of action, action and the doer, birth, death, existence, all this is Brahman. Nothing else is ever, even in imagination. Now, on the next page, there's another beautiful story that the nanny tells about the child who asked them, and it's very confusing and it's very interesting. That there was a they once upon a time in a city which does not exist. There was three princes who were brave and happy. Of them, two were unborn and one had not been conceived. It's very interesting. That means everything is there, but everything is not there. So yes, you must read this story. This is a very good, wonderful story. And then, oh Rama, this world is nothing more than an idea. All these objects of the consciousness in this world are just an idea. Reject the air. If you moment you will reject this idea, you are living. You reject this idea, then okay, you go into that I am state, and then you will understand, oh, I am just existing all the time. When this body was there, body was not there, I was just there. That I am state was always there. Only I was not aware of that state because it is directly and continuously and completely depending on the food body. The moment food body is gone, my reference point to that I am is gone. I cannot refer to that. That's why this body mind complexity is very important. And the only way to understand that this body mind complexity is there but it is not real is going back to that state of I am. Now 26th of March, you are ever free. Before that, inquiry into the nature of the truth, abandon falsehood. You are ever free. Why do you call yourself bound and then grieve? The self is infinite, and how and by when it is bound. Now again go back to that state of I am. You will exist, you will experience immense silence there, quietness, unbound, subtler state of beingness, which is you initially you might feel the body and the shape of the body there, but after the practice you will even not feel that, and it is just amazing. And then after that you will start questioning what he has asked. The self is infinite, then that will start giving you the experience of your infinite nature. The moment the hold over the body will become loose, the hold over the mind will become loose, and you will start dropping it, then it will start giving you the feeling of that infiniteness. And in that you can question that, oh my goodness, if that is the state of me being into that I am state, then how it is got bound and when it is got bound. And then the next thing happens. See, are you understanding? We are going more into the deeper sections now, and as the book progresses it will keep going deeper and deeper. Again we will keep repeating the same thing. It's a knowledge and it's a truth. That's why it will keep coming back to us again and again. You are absolute, mind is not real, body is not real, world is not real. All those things will keep coming back and back and back, because all these things are depending on that separateness that is experience, which is illusionary, and after that illusion everything else has created. That is why it is always said it is only absolute Brahman. Everything looks like coming out of that Brahman, and then we have got stuck into the outermost reality of our existence, which is our body and which is the surrounding bodies that we see as a world, and we are stuck with that. And that's why it is difficult to withdraw that consciousness from there, hold it on the level of consciousness, pure consciousness, I am, and then going to the next level. Now, death is but the veiling by time and space of the ever present self. Now, when you are going into that state of I am, and when you realize, oh yes, there is this self which is looking like a limited, not limited, looking like a shape like a body initially, but with the practice, it will lose the hold over the body, and then it will start going deeper into its pure sense of being. And in that sense of being, when you ask yourself this question, so what is that was born, what is that was died? So it is just the presence that I am there, awareness of that I amness, beingness is the message that I am born, because it got attached to the body and it needed that body for itself to exist, and we call it as a birth. The moment this consciousness is there, but it says, that's it, enough is enough, let me go get rid of that hold of over that body, let me get rid of that hold over that mind, and let me just relax with myself, I can't do anymore, then we call it as a death. So if you are that consciousness, that self, that I am existence inside you, so are you really born, and do you really die, or it was just the message of your being, awareness, and that I am state? When it was delivered first, you call it as a birth, and when it will deliver last, you will call it as a death. So think over it. Now, then after that, having manifested into the infinite consciousness, the mind has by its own nature spreads itself out and all that. Okay, everything is about the mind here. No? Depending upon the intensity and the dullness, and upon the size, big or small, of the object created and influenced, the mind does what is to be done with the same delay or much later. It is not incapable of doing anything whatsoever. See, the mind is doing all those things. It is doing sometimes early, late, dullness, intensity, big or small. All those things is happening, and everything is happening, and everything is getting manifested because of the power of that consciousness, and the consciousness is existing because of the power of that absolute. That is why it is said it is not incapable of doing anything whatsoever. It is capable of doing lots of things because it is borrowing that power from that. Now, there is another story that the juggler came. The king is sitting there, and his ministers offer that the juggler entered. This is again another interesting story which tells us that how everything is unreal, and someone who just knows how to play with these energies can make you see so many illusionary things around you. And then the story continues that the king, king goes into this trance, and all those things happen. Only the one who has not cultivated the wisdom is adversely affected by the spells and drugs and etc., not one who is fully developed. And then the king keeps going. The story continues when the king is still into that trance and under the juggler's influence, that that he was a member of a tribe, then he got married, then everything got worse and worse, and then bound by the ropes of evil tendencies, I grew wild with anger. And then his son was there, and he wanted to eat something, and then he said, you eat my flesh, and the son said, give me. And then and after that, the king just woke up. And when the king woke up, after whatever he said, sorry, the king said all those things, whatever he has seen, then the juggler vanished. And then the minister said that from all this, it is clear that the world experience is nothing but the play of mind. Because someone who has got the power and all that, when they will start If you heard in India and all that, we say that, that black magic and those people who are doing all sorts of things. See, they have got limited access to all those things. That's why they can do that. However, the power and the presence of the guru is so strong in you, because gurus works on the different level altogether. They work on the very deeper levels. We talked about that I am state inside you. Now, the I am state is depending on something that we call as absolute. The gurus and the siddhas works on that level of the absolute. That is why it doesn't get affected, and if anything like this is happening, they can still cure you out of that. Just the innocently, intensely, and just with pure heart calling your guru's or master's name and surrendering them also many times recovers you from all those magics, black magics, and all that things happening around you. So that is the power of the faith into that absolute, and the embodiment of that absolute in the living world in the form is what we call as a guru. So guru is nothing but that reflection of that absolute, which is there in that physical form, in the purest physical form. So that's why never get attached with the body and the words, body and whatever the behavior that the gurus are showing. It is just the 5 elements which are mixed together and the body is formed, and it is just behaving. But their knowledge, their intelligence, their understanding, everything is much on the depth level, and you cannot even think. That's why, just imagine, Gurudev said recently, that it was so difficult. Just to make my job easy, I made the scanners, and he just blessed few people, around 150 people, just blessed, no training required. He just intention was there, and he just said, okay, you are a scanner, and those people can sit with you, do a 15-20 minutes of a session, and can tell you everything about your past, can see your past while they are sitting with you in your consciousness, and can predict your future. That is what is the process of scanning that is recently started in Art of Living. How is that possible if you don't have the access to everything? And just by your blessing, you can become a scanner. So that is the power of the guru, which is, just thought I will share this with you. And then the mind is the whole world. Mind is atmosphere, mind is sky, mind is earth, mind is wind, mind is everything, like all the elements and everything we just saw. If the mind is elsewhere, the taste of the food is being eaten is not really experience. If the mind is elsewhere, one does not see the things which are right in front of them. The senses are born out of mind, and and you see that this is what we generally share in our happiness program also. Nowadays, because of the 3-day format, we don't have much of a time to talk about the mind and intellect and memory. We just gently brush it and we go away. But mind is the first subtler existence after the physical existence, which is there inside you, which is perceiving and taking all the data from the world. Now the perception will not happen if mind is thinking of something else. See, mind has got many abilities. It can express, it can perceive, and it can observe. Observing itself, that it is lost into its own thoughts, the perception is stopped. While expressing the perception can still happen. While perceiving, the observation can happen. But once it is deeply observed in itself into its own nature and lost, then the perception and expression both is not clear. That's what it's saying, that outer taste, you see something, you talk something, all these are outer expressions. All those won't happen clearly when the mind is busy somewhere. He who does not allow his mind to roam in objects of pleasure is able to master it, even as one who is bound to the pillars does not move. The mind of a noble man does not move from the reality. He alone is a human being, and the others are bounds. Okay, anyway, that's all good. somewhere it's very harsh language they are used, like it's all human beings, everything is a worm and all that. It is not worm, but the creature like worm does not have its own existence. It's just living and bound by the natural uh, things happening around it. It will mate at some time, it will eat at some time, it will roam around for a certain area and die at some time. That's why it's given, like, what is the difference between you and the worm if you not putting your efforts in understanding who you are and what you are. That's why, so that's the end of it. Actually, we did a good job. That's the end of it. And then at this note we will stop here and keep thinking about this, keep analyzing about it. This knowledge which you read here and which we share and which I share my insights and understanding and the way I'm seeing it in myself, it all acts like a seeds inside you, and those seeds get nurtured when you keep thinking and going back to that and keep questioning with the viveka, the discrimination, keep challenging your beliefs, keep challenging your um, thought process, your expressions, your actions, the things that you see around you. Then with that, this seed starts sprouting that yes, I'm not what I see, I'm not what I feel, I'm not what I think, I'm just that pure witness or just that I am state. It will start going back to that, and understanding this knowledge is one part, but discrimination and challenging yourself with whatever you think you are is the second very important part, and the combination of these two will start making you experience and understand that depth of you existing in this world, and it will start making it more clear, and it will start going to the taking you back to the pure state. Okay, on that note, we'll end here. Do listen to this if it is too difficult to understand, because sometimes whatever I say, it might not be digested or might not be easily acceptable, so you have to listen to it again and understand it, because next time you listen, third time you listen, then you will come to know that your state of consciousness changes, though it's the same words, because it's a pure knowledge, and it will hit you on a different level every time you hear it. Okay, so and we'll see you after next time. I will record 3rd of April onwards till 10th of April. Jai Gurudev. Bye.